move on to minimum wage. And
Yeah. So let's just there's a lot of things that are going on right now regarding wages. Minimum wage is one of them. There's also the overtime or the exempt or non-exempt wages. How do you feel about minimum wage?
Welcome to Dumb Guys Talk About Smart Stuff.
You know, I think it's a little bit behind the times, but I think that there's the minimum wage, but I don't think minimum wage should be what everybody makes. So basically like socialism type thing. I think that minimum wage should be like a fair wage, but then there's more to go to for good performers.
Right.
Type of thing from there. And so
well, that's why minimum wage I think is really hard, especially now. What is minimum wage in California? It's like $10 an hour, right?
yeah, I don't even know anymore.
I think it's like $10 an hour, and they want to raise it to $15 an hour.
Yeah, I think that's the
it's $9 an hour.
Okay, I think that's the fast food workers push is 15.
Right. Right. Well, I think there's
I think
I think San Francisco upped the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
I think it's within but it's not immediate. It's like there's a plan, like incremental increases to get to 15 that San Francisco passed. I think Seattle passed that as well.
Yeah.
I think we actually live
in 2021.
Yeah. So we actually live in the only town that had a minimum wage on the ballot and it didn't pass in the United States, in Eureka, California.
The problem with that, though, is that if minimum wage is $9 an hour, okay, let's just say, and there are workers that have been in a position for several years that have done a good job and have been able to earn their way to $15 an hour, and then all of a sudden, now all the new people coming through the door are making $15 an hour. What does that do to the person who earned his way to that $15 an hour?
You know, it's mixed for me because I say, like, I only know the cost of living in this little area. So countrywide, it's hard to say because say like Bay Area might be $1 million to buy a rinky-dink little house. Another place you can buy, you know, a 3-story house for $90,000.
Yeah.
So I think it's to go federal is one thing, go state by state is another.
I mean, I don't think it's bad to increase minimum wage, but think about the effects on the people who those entry-level workers are going to meet up to.
Yeah. Well,
so
the thing,
do you just
the viewpoint I have on that is that there's a couple other angles to look at there. There is how much is minimum wage costing us, and so what happens is these huge corporations, say like a Walmart, a McDonald's. You know, McDonald's is kind of a franchise, so there's it's a little different, but there's just billionaires that have this business model of paying people minimum wage, and that costs us. So I looked it up, and the fast food workers cost just fast food. This doesn't include Walmart. Costs the taxpayer $7 billion a year in public aid programs. So like people make so little, they still qualify for food stamps.
Right.
They're raising children on minimum wage, things like that. So it costs us money for those people to have that business model.
Yeah.
So we're paying more taxes to pay that. Another thing is, I think somebody that spent years to get to because I've heard the whole thing of like years and years and years to get to what they're proposing minimum wage is. I think that's sending a message to these people that those people should get paid more as well.
Right, but there's nothing that's going to regulate that they do.
No,
and business owners like the owners of McDonald's who are billionaires, why would they do that? They're not going
the thing about
those
type of corporations, they're only going to pay minimum wage.
Right.
Yeah. So no matter what you do, they're going to only do what they can legally get away with.
Well, I think any business is going to do that, though. That's the thing, because any business, they're looking at the bottom line. They want to make as much money as they can.
Potentially, but some businesses don't have that mentality. Because say like some businesses will go out there, it's like, all this guy's doing is pounding numbers in a cash register, why should he get paid a lot? Other companies have, this is a customer service representative, that he's showing our best face to the world, and to have people come to us, we need a step up from the McDonald's employee, so we need to pay a step up.
Yeah.
And I've seen that working, my experience has not been working for the huge corporations, but those guys that have a foothold in the industry, more size maybe, I think the biggest company I've worked for maybe had like 2,000 employees, so they're nowhere near like a Walmart or a McDonald's, and they all pay more than that. They pay that little step up. And I think too, it's like, we came from a period of time not that long ago, where the biggest employer was Ford. And they said if you adjust for inflation, like entry level there was like 40,000 a year with full benefits, and the country was stronger back then.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the way we do it, there's just no guarantee that the money's going to come out of the pocket of the CEO.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the money needs to come from.
I agree. I agree 100%.
There's too much money going to the top.
Business owners should be paying more money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's it's ridiculous how much some of these CEOs make in bonuses and et cetera, while their employees are struggling to make it. And I agree that shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
It's how do you make that happen where it doesn't totally crumble the rest of the system.
Yeah, and to me, say like minimum wage is a law enforced by the government. I think that there is an extent to where it's up to the employees to pursue performing well and getting fairly paid for that performing well.
Yeah. I think business owners should be required by law to offer minimum free benefits, like medical and dental and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that would, one, take the pressure off of the United States, off the government.
Yeah.
Two, it would, take the pressure off of workers.
Mm-hmm.
And there would be no complaint, because if you don't have a job, then okay, you don't get the benefits.
Yeah.
And three, it would take some of that money out of the CEO's pocket.
Yeah, and they could have the carrot of like tax breaks for companies that provide this, so that they don't have to go on public assistance.
Right.
Tax breaks for companies that pay enough to where they don't have any employees that are working
I think it should
and on
be.
food stamps.
I think it should be a law that a minimum, if you work there, you get free medical, free dental.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the best possible services out there, but you should just get it.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, like a working person, should they be living paycheck to paycheck with that fear of like a broken arm could just make everything fall apart?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jessica is struggling, my wife is struggling right now with so many medical bills for not just her, but our daughter. I mean, we had a baby, so that cost a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And we're struggling with these medical bills, on top of paying like $700 a month in deductibles.
Mm-hmm.
So we pay, insurance drives me crazy, because we pay, so much money per year, whether you use it or not.
Yeah.
Same with the auto insurance, same with homeowners insurance. I mean, I'm spending tons of money on insurance.
Yeah.
And I hardly ever make a claim.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I'm paying more money into insurance than they're actually spending.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've done the math on car insurance. I pay way more in car insurance than I would pay in claims.
Yeah.
The thing about, say, like, because a lot of people say, like, there's that push for the $15 an hour minimum wage, and then, when I first started working, I think I made like $8 an hour or something like that. I think in high school I made like $6.
Yeah, when I first started working, I was making $6.
Yeah, 6. Then I went up to 8 when I got a construction job, and then I get these little 50-cent raises maybe once a year or so.
Yeah.
I think I got up to like $15 an hour after 6 years of working construction, with no benefits.
Yeah.
And I basically went 5 years without going to the dentist.
Right. Yeah.
Type of thing, and that's, to me, it's just like that employer should have been paying for some benefits, and there could be like a cap limit of like certain small businesses that are just family owned, don't have to do comply.
Well, even
by
those
that.
family owned businesses. Here's the myth with those family owned businesses. They're a small business. They're only making the business only makes so much per year. However, the business owner is still a millionaire.
Yeah.
They still have millions of dollars. Not all of them.
Yeah.
But in some cases, I mean, I've worked for guys like they struggled to pay their bills, but their yacht and their Porsche got paid for right out of the bank account for the business.
Yeah.
It was a struggle every 2 weeks to make payroll, but his yacht and his Porsche were getting paid for.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and also I think there's a misguidance. Like people that work for a living don't even comprehend what it's like to have $1 million.
Yeah.
And don't because I've heard those things like I think there's a guy that went on TV recently. I think he was like a politician. He said something like I own 2 Subway franchises or something like that. So I forget it was Subway or McDonald's. And on paper, like I make $2 million a year, but then I pay so much taxes that I only take home $200,000 cash. It's like, well, $200,000 is still a lot of money.
Right.
And it's like minimum rate paying your workers a little bit more. And like you complaining about, your worker taking home $15,000, $20,000 a year, and then getting a little bit more on top of that when since your argument is I only make $200,000.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, they have a hard time comprehending, what it's like for someone making $20,000 a year when they're making 10 times that amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, but of course they're living, a more luxurious life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny how your mentality changes. Like when I was making $6 an hour, I couldn't imagine what life would be like if I was making $10 an hour.
Oh yeah.
Or $12 an hour. But as you continue to get older and you start making more money, and you realize the more money you make, the more money you spend.
Yeah.
And every little bit you spend, you want a little bit more now.
Yeah. Well, one thing I feel about this working environment is that I started working, construction at a young age. I've been working my whole life. And a house right now in California is like, a cheap one's $220,000.
Yeah.
And the payment on that is going to be out of my price range the rest of my life. Unless it's something crazy.
Well, and not only the fact that you got to make those payments, but the fact that you got to come up with a down payment.
Down payment.
I think the minimum with programs that are available is 3%.
Mm-hmm.
And what's 3% on $200,000?
Yeah.
It's six grand.
Yeah.
I mean, just having $6 sitting in the bank is not easy money to come by.
No. And
Yeah.
talk about $6 sitting in the bank. I was sitting there with like a $2,500 insurance deductible. Like, if I get hurt bad, I'd have to come up with that, plus come up with not working, plus it'd be like a disaster.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
And then what happens when you default on your mortgage?
Yeah, you're out. You're
Right.
homeless. And then all of a sudden you're one of those guys that freaking people are calling lazy.
Yeah.
Because they're homeless and not working.